comment. And MCEA, you have any going on or anything?
Mark, I guess this one here.
Or we need to open up that at the...
No, this is something different. Faith and I think the student council after at Massac High School did a big fundraiser for boxes and stuff for families to have meals and stuff.
Yeah.
I have pictures in my phone, and it served 197 families this holiday season. And I think that's worth noting, and to see what is going on that we don't know what kids are doing. I'd like to bring Faith and a couple of student council members to the next meeting and have them just show the pictures of the kids working, show them what they're doing for the community, and show a different angle, because I don't think the student council and them have ever been really recognized out there, but the community needs to know what they're doing. That's it. Sure.
Sounds good, Larry. Yeah.
He was perfect.
Okay, we're gonna move right into next to the hearing to consider parent ban from school grounds and actions if needed.
Okay. Generally, I think we have both parents here this evening. Do you care to give us your names so we know who we're talking to?
Brittany Collison
Brittany Collison.
and Autumn Oxford.
Thank you. I'm Jason Hayes. This is Massac County Board of Education. We have to have a public hearing to consider what happened and then to consider any action if necessary. So we usually start by having the building principal describe the incident in question. I forget the date.
I believe it was December 5th.
December 5th. You want to just go ahead and start, and then we'll give the ladies a chance to respond.
And some of this has been given me account from the ladies themselves. I guess there was a question of who was going to pick up the kids. Someone had overslept, had worked midnights, I think, and there was some question, maybe some frustration or argument between them before they got there. I think Miss Oxford was in the pickup line to pick up the lines, and Miss Cullison went in as a walker to pick up the kids, and then Miss Cullison went over to the car, the van, to get some things out of the van. I understand that there was some obscenities being yelled out. I understand that the van was opened up. I think Miss Cullison was maybe rather aggressive in how she entered the van, and Miss Oxford made contact with her. And from what I understand from the ladies there was swinging going on. They couldn't exactly see who all was swinging. The ladies have told me that there was swinging going on and a lot of cussing. I know one of the ladies at dismissal was trying to break it up. She thought maybe there might have been she was afraid there was a kid getting beat on in the car, so she was trying to break it up. And then I believe it was Miss Cullison started yelling obscenities at her. I was on the south side of the parking lot, and this took place on the north side. By the time I got over there, Miss Cullison had removed herself from the car, but was still screaming obscenities at the ladies working dismissal, myself, and even the officers that arrived after that. Mr. Coleman, one of the officers, was, I guess, off duty picking up his daughters, and he came over and helped out until Metropolis Police arrived. Miss Oxford pulled into the parking lot, and they were separated at that point, and the police kind of took it over from there.
Were there students exiting the building at this time?
Yes, the ladies, it was normal dismissal time, so we've got students leaving. We had a couple of the ladies acted quickly, took the students that they could back inside and shut the doors. So I thank them for acting quickly on that.
Is there anything you would like to add, discuss?
Yes, I would like to add that both of us are very regretful for the actions that we placed at the elementary school. We understand. I'm sorry. We understand that what we did was, we are best friends, and we do currently live together with our children. Bless her heart, she's been dealing with some mental issues going on recently, and she has received help for that. Since then, we haven't gotten into any altercations at all whatsoever at the house.
That actually has been our first ever
We've
in
been
10
friends
years.
for almost 10 years.
Altercation.
And for whatever reason, it all just kind of happened right there, at the wrong place at the wrong time. And nothing like that has ever happened.
It really was a big, all of it was a big
really
misunderstanding because I'd woke her up out of sleep asked her to get the twins from school. When she asked me if I could get the boys, I thought she meant our older two. And then it just went from there because she got startled out of sleep because the twins hadn't got picked up out of school. And it went from there. Like, how I went out the van, I could understand her thinking that I was coming at her. But I was trying to get my son's things out of that van. I needed the car seat, his booster seat I needed. And then it went from there because she thought that I was coming at her and I was really coming to get my son's things.
And whenever she had called, I think I had upset her in all reality, which stemmed the aggression because I was like in a hurry to pick up the twins, the smaller two from the Head Start. So I wasn't really answering her calls, and she was trying to call, and I'm like, I have to go pick up the kids, and I kind of hung up on her. She got really frustrated, you know what I mean? And then it just kind of escalated from there. And we understand that we are not allowed on the property, and we accept that. As far as like their programs and stuff go,
But we're the only two that we have to pick them up and
we are
drop
like
them
the
off.
only forms of transportation in order to drop off and receive our children from school. So we would at least ask that you allow us to at least
Drop
pick
them off and pick them up.
to pick them up and drop them off for at least the remainder of the school year. And if you don't, we understand that 100%. We will do whatever we have to do in order to work with the school to either pick them up on the side of the property or whatever it is that we would like to do. But we just wanted to come and apologize to you guys because we understand that as adults,
We
At an
should have
elementary
acted
school,
that
that was
way,
very wrong.
period. Even wherever it was, may have the case been, we shouldn't have ever acted that way.
and we're very sorry.
We appreciate that. The board appreciates that.
I appreciate you coming and
We appreciate
I mean, there's
being,
really
you
no
know,
excuse for
and
how
being
we
up
acted.
front.
There's not.
but you're absolutely right. There was no excuse,
Exactly.
you know, for ranting and raving and fussing and cussing at school in the first place, and certainly not, you know,
And our
with any of the kids or any of our staff or our principal. So I'll think on what we need to do, but I appreciate you all, you know, at least coming. That means a whole lot. That's more than a lot would have done.
Well, we apologize to you guys, Mr. Conkle, for my actions as well. 'Cause they was
That
We
was-
just appreciate
That was my question is, I'm proud that you came and had this conversation with you. Any conversation that you had that was out of line with the principal or any of your staff members, I'm assured that they have been approached and the apologies have
I was
been
just
made.
say I would love to apologize to whoever. I was yelling and screaming out. I don't know who I was talking to. At one point in time, I didn't even know I was talking to him. So like he literally come around the building, and I looked at
JR,
him.
do you
He's gone.
agree with what she's saying?
Because I was just yelling
They've
and
been
screaming.
very
It was just-
upfront and honest with their depiction of everything that took place.
So you feel that the connections with the people that need to be done have been made?
I mean, I know that they've both spoken with me.
Yeah.
They probably hadn't had the opportunity.
Yeah, we
They
haven't
know the
because
other
They haven't
we
had
was trying to know
a lot
anything.
of
Right now, they've been off school.
But they've made an effort, so that's number one right there.
What are the provisions, Mr. Conkle, for picking them up and dropping them off now?
They've had somebody else picking up the boys, and I do know that there was a day last week when I think one of your sisters, is it yours, Miss Oxford?
Yes.
Her sister had been picking them up, and she couldn't. And I asked if they could just wait till 3:10 to 3:15, give me a call whenever they got there, and I'll walk the boys about halfway down the sidewalk to them.
And the last time that we had this happen, didn't you have a designated place off the property they could pick the children up? And then-
There was something, yeah, it was kind of a way
Right.
after they were usually the last ones picked up.
When you speak of the boys, how old?
They're 7 and 6. First and second grade.
And there's never been an issue any other times.
Not like,
No, we've
no, I
been,
mean, yeah, we've
we've
never like,
argued, bickered, and argued, but
but
we've
never
never.
to that extent degree.
Well, what do you think brought it on? I mean, what?
We was
You-
both
you said
worried
you-
about the kids.
You said you was, you know, one of you woke up out of been asleep or something and, you know.
That was me, and I was in a hurry and a rush to get the kids. And whenever she had called, she said, "Are you getting the kids?" And I said, "I thought you were getting the kids." She said, "No, I have to get the big boys. You have to get the little boys." I said, "Okay." Then I hung up the phone. as she was calling, I was like in a panic to get to the car, so I wasn't really answering, you know what I'm saying? When I answered the phone, I'm like, I have to pick up the boys, you know what I'm saying? Stop calling me, is kind of how it happened. I don't know if that's what upset her and got her mad, and then she had sent some text messages, really upset ones, kind of rude and hateful, almost threatening, you know, to a certain degree, but I didn't respond until we got to the school, and then some of the text messages were kind of like,
So
I'm
you
gonna-
both- you both got to school.
yeah. And then I was in the line to pick up Zyler, and she was walking them out, and I tooted the horn. I said, Zyler can come with me, you know, and then she approached the van in order to, or whatever, and she was kind of fresh. I could tell that she was upset, and she was kind of mouthing, and she said, unlock the door. So I reached over and unlocked the door. She climbed in the door to look for the car seat. The car seat wasn't in there. It was all so chaotic in our reality. She had said something else, and then next thing you know, I mean, it literally just kind of happened so fast. It's really just,
And then words start flying, and then
yeah, and then,
just can't take back.
right? And then we just embarrassed ourselves in our reality.
That,
We just appreciate the opportunity to
Yes,
be heard.
we do. Thank you.
I think, you have a recommendation, Mr. Conkle. I know in the past, we've had a very similar instance, and we banned the board, I think, agreed to ban the parents for 1 calendar year, which is a maximum, with the addition of having a drop-up, a pickup plan. I think you worked that out last time. So that is an option that you could change the amount of time you could do, or we could take no action whatsoever. So those are the board's option at this time. Do you have a recommendation? I mean, you were.
Well, I do think that at the least, we need to have the calendar ban. And we've, you know, Mr. Hayes and I have talked and don't have any plans to press charges with the police department. I think that's a big one right there. But at the same time, you know, the message has to be sent to everybody. We just can't behave that way on school property.
Do you recommend a 1-year ban
I am.
with a position of work a place for them to pick the children up?
That can be worked out.
With no, no police, nothing like that, just do the ban.
I don't wanna set a policy one way and then keep changing every time there's a situation comes in, you know, it becomes a real thing, and I go along with JR here, I think the 1-year calendar ban, but we have to make sure the kids are safe getting picked up too. So, I'm in favor of the 1-year calendar ban with, you know, working out some kind of situation where those kids can be protected.
dropped off and picked up at the.
Well, I think the key is here is that's gonna have to be a little bit different than regular dismissal time. I mean, that is where all of this took place in the first place, that it happened. So I think we need to try to avoid that as much as possible.
I think we.
I would feel pretty silly if it happened again.
Right.
Yeah, that would not be good. I think I agree. We can't have that. I mean, that's a chaotic time, especially at your building. You're dismissing 550 kids. That's the last thing you need on top of that.
Well, and fortunately, the police department did arrive, and they arrived quickly, thankful to them, and things were separated and everything, and no further harm done. It could have been a bad situation, though.
You heard what Mr. Chronicle said, you recommend go ahead with a 1-year suspension and a place to pick up.
You need to put that forward motion.
Yeah, we need to put that in form of motion.
I'd like to make the motion that we adhere to a 1 calendar year ban with a concession be made to where time pickup before and after school different from the time that is normal opening and close.
Do I have a second for that?
That's
I'll
totally-
second that.
That's totally left up to JR.
Okay. We have a motion, we have a second. Any more discussion on this? Lisa, roll call, please.
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Ms. Larison?
Yes.
Ms. Roaching? Mr. Summer?
Yes.
Ms. Steele?
Yes.
Mr. Sowers?
Yes.
You'll be getting a letter on that, and then we'll let Mr. Conkle
We'll
work
try to
out the
communicate
details,
tomorrow, and we'll try to come up with some.
Thank you too for coming back in.
Thank you. My other question is with the 1 calendar year that is like 360.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's just a calendar year, not a school year.
Okay, so whenever we go to enroll our kids next year, without us being allowed on school property, like how would we do that?
You can make arrangements.
Yeah,
Okay.
just use Mr. Conkle, contact him for all the special, and there'll be, and there may be other times where we have to make special arrangements if there's a special meeting that has to happen or something like that, but we can work through that. Okay.
He'll work through that, yeah, he will.
Yeah.
He'll take care of that.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Thank you for apologizing.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Conkle, too. I know you've got a lot going on, so if you need to leave.
Okay,
I appreciate it. Got another ballgame.
Yeah, I thought you did. You're going to Heath now, aren't you?
Hey, I want to say this too. Thanks to Mr. Hayes, we got new sound equipment at the elementary school, and I'm not exactly a sound technician, so he spent a good part of his morning today helping us getting all of our sound equipment set up, and it worked A1
I heard it
today.
went
So,
well today.
went real well, yeah.
I'm sure.
No.
Okay,
Thanks
Yeah,
again.
they went all the way down to JR's fault.
we're gonna go right into the consent approval of minutes, financial treasure report, and bills and payroll.
Should've got that on camera.
Has everybody had a chance to, look at the financial report and the bills, payroll?
The biggest thing I think on the bills is our big bond payment, which is principal and interest right there. So that's our big bond payment for the year. That came on November 30th, right?
Yeah.
December the 1st.
And that's our big one, that is the interest and principal.
How many more do we got on that one?
That's the one that ends, I think, after the other one. It's like 2020.
22?
I'm thinking 2022, yeah. I'd have to look it up to be sure. There's two different ones.
Okay. All right,
I'll make a motion to
Motion.
accept the minutes and the financials.
do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any more discussion? Lisa, roll call, please.
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Ms. Larison?
Yes.
Ms. Roaching?
Yes.
Mr. Summer?
Yes.
Ms. Steele?
Yes.
Mr. Sanders?
Yes. We're right into superintendent's report.
Yeah, I didn't create an overhead or a visual or anything. I've got a couple extra copies if anyone needs it, but, just got three things here. In the essence of time, I know we're all trying to get, well, maybe two there. Trying to get to, the high school, junior high. Here's a couple extras for out there. I just want to take a moment, kind of like Larry said, acknowledge some of our students. The high school, every year we announce the state scholars about this time of year, and I think Michelle already ran them in the paper, but I just want to point out there were 16, and this is always from the senior class, the class of 2019, and 16 equates to 15% of that class. It's a very small class, so that's a pretty healthy number when you consider that you have to be in the top 10, or top one half of the high school class, and you also have to have a very high ACT or SAT score. It's not an easy feat to become an Illinois State Scholar. So these students are definitely deserve some extra recognition for that achievement. And then I've got the normal expenditures on the next page, and then the normal cash balances that we kind of look at. We were again pretty high this time. It was just at $2.5 million, I think, because of that big bond payment. So this is our high month, and then hopefully December we'll get back into things. And then our cash balances, you can see this year where we're at, especially compared to last year, we're doing a little bit better. A lot of that's a result of our evidence-based funding money that we're slowly tapping into. And then also, I think a big chunk of that is our taxes. We got quite early this year. We already got our second payment, so we've collected most of the property tax. There's like, what did we say, 500,000 left, I think. Yeah. So, and we were supposed to get just over 6 million. So anyway, those are the expenditures and the cash balances, and that's pretty much all I have. We've got several programs going on this week, and I've had a lot of positive comment from staff about the board visits that you guys have been doing, so thank you for that. I know the staff appreciates that.
I think it'd be nice in the spring if we could find one day where we could schedule the board to go to each school. because sometimes I made this schedule up, it's my fault. Getting us there at 9:30 at Big John's, but we're getting to the schools a little early. We don't wanna disturb the schools. But anyway, it'd be nice if we could take a tour through the school as a board.
We can definitely set that up.
We're used to.
Yeah, I think you used to do that, and I think it's a good idea, and in that way, everybody knows we're coming, and we're not interrupting anybody's day or time.
Yeah, we can definitely set that up. I'd like to wait till after all the testing and everything.
Sure,
to
sure. You
set that up.
find a date and time that works. Also, the cheerleaders competed last Saturday, and I actually went to watch them in Carterville, and they did well. They placed sixth. I think they are eligible to go to state, but they have opted to do something else.
Yeah.
Because of the cost and.
Yeah, and I think this year we agreed to just try to, this is the first competition, so.
It was very interesting to see. The other schools, had nice outfits and had done it long enough. But we've got several girls on our team that have competed on cheer teams from Paducah for years, and that helped a lot. We did real well.
Okay.
That's all I had.
Run into any unfinished business?
I don't think we had any releases.
Okay, we got new business to consider the assertion of the high school graduation date for May 17th, 2019, 7 p.m. This also established the junior high graduation date the night prior.
Yeah, and that's simply out of necessity, because we always set the gym up once, and then we always do the junior high first, because we have project graduation the night after high school graduation. We have to tear all that down because they use the gym. So that's the reciprocating date from last year, and really it's not, you can't go a week later because that's Memorial Day weekend a week later. So that's about all we can do, unless you just wanted to bump it up really early. But I don't see the need in that.
I graduated Memorial Day weekend.
Did you?
Me too.
Yeah, we try to avoid
In a
that
hot gym.
anymore.
Well, the flip side of that is people,
Coming
get
in.
family coming in.
Coming in, they got extra day to get here for it.
Yeah.
And in for it.
But you could always,
Not trying to go backwards, we just need to.
we haven't done that in several years, at least since I've been around high school. No, you gotta do that one, right, so.
Okay, I need a motion to consider that for May 17th.
I move.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Any more discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Ms. Larison?
Yes.
Ms. Rushing?
Yes.
Mr. Summer?
Yes.
Ms. Steele?
Yes.
Mr. Souders?
Yes. So the next one, consideration of a new student management system proposal.
Yeah, Tom Walker's here, in case you have any questions about any of this. This is something that's been a painstaking decision that we've kind of faced with. The student management system we have now has been bought out multiple times. Originally, it was STI. Actually, it was, before that, it was, what was it called? It was, Tremont, that's right.
Yeah.
And it became STI, and then we stayed with STI. When I was Tom Walker and transitioning out of that, we moved from STI standalone to a web-based solution they call Information Now. Just that transition was very difficult, and it was the same company. So now, I think Chalkable bought out STI, then Power School bought out Chalkable, and so anyway, the student management system we have is going away. They haven't given us a sunset date on it, but it's going away pretty soon. The financial software, which is also STI, is going away next year. So we have one more year with it. And so Tom and I have been working with several other staff members to try to find a new student management system, because we want to go ahead and transition to that to make sure they don't sunset the other one next year, and then we're learning two systems at the same time, the financial and the student one. But the student management system is what controls everything, it holds all of our student data, everything we have. So it's a big undertaking, and we've been trying to look at different programs. We've had people coming in doing demos, we've had some teachers look at them. Robin from the high school has been inside and out some of these, trying to figure out what we can make work for us, and we've come down to this one system called ALMA, or ALMA, A-L-M-A. It's a web-based product, similar to what we have now, except it's totally web-based. It definitely integrates more with what we do now. Tom, do you want to say anything about it?
Yeah, just kind of rolls together some systems. We're making, not just student information, but also for attendance purposes and getting those phone calls out to parents. You know, that would be set in the same system. Now they're separated, which is problematic at times. And then it also has the registration component built in with it as well. So when we have students come back to school during the summertime, parents will, you know, be able to fill out their information online, you know, the demographics and those sorts of things.
And we currently
Address
do that.
changes.
Will our system
that's
roll
separate.
into that one? The
Yeah.
information roll into
So what kind of cost are you looking at, and how much training do these companies offer, and
Well, that was
what
part
does that
of-
cost?
That
for
was part of that
training and-
initial, that thing I sent you, it had the training in there. Essentially, we're paying, right now, we're right at $40,000 a year for the one we have. That's not being updated anymore, and that we have to do separate things for, so what he was talking about registration, we pay a separate company. We do that with them, and then Tom has to get that information from that separate company into our current student management. Same right now for our caller. The secretaries take that information that's in our student management, export it, import it into another system. So there's several systems at play there. This one is up, it was, what was it, 40-something thousand dollars, I think, total per year, starting out. So it's a little more, but they're all a little more. And we've been told if we stick with Chockable, who owns our company now, which is gonna force us to take their new product, when they end it, it's gonna be more too. I mean,
Yeah,
we're not gonna get the same price that we're
I
paying.
think my fear with the current one too is that as more people start to leave it, the service cost is just gonna go higher. And they're basically just providing security updates and any kind of updates for state reporting at this point. There's nothing new. It's just, you know, we've had it for almost 10 years now. I mean, I know Ms. Steele sat through and we worked on that, and I don't know if I drove her nuts or she about drove me nuts or one or the other, but it's not a fun transition. This is certainly not one that I wanted to even think about. I think I've reiterated that point to Mr. Hayes many, many times. But it's one of those, we have to do it.
We gotta jump in at one point or another, and we'd like to be proactive about it. The good thing about doing it now is we can start the data conversion from our current system, like Kathy just asked about, to this new system, and we can continue using our old system until July, and then the other one will be ready to go and have the data converted in it. So it's something you gotta do ahead of time. We can't wait till this one ends and then say, okay, we're gonna switch to a new system.
So y'all feel comfortable with this, Alma?
As comfortable as I think we've been stewing on this for a long time. We've had a lot of eyes on this one, and this seems to be the one that everyone likes.
Yeah, we started having these conversations back at right at the beginning of this school year, so it's been 4 months of looking and trying to figure it out, and, you know,
They have pretty good tech support, you know.
everything to my
So
understanding.
I
is,
know that's important.
Yeah. Well, then it got me too. No, I'm just kidding. But we reached out to other school districts that actually went through a similar conversion from what we have now to Alma, and from all accounts, everything went smoothly. But
I'm
I
sure
also
there's gonna
know
be
that-
some hiccups.
yeah, I also know not to, but that, you know, and that could be with any system though. In fact, when we went from our previous, you know, STI office into what we have now about 10 years ago, there were a lot of hiccups then too. So,
And it was
that
the
was in the
same
same company.
So, so this new company they'll bring people in to train
Yeah, that's
everyone
part
without
of the,
that part of that,
Part of that initial
cost.
cost, so it's more initially than
that first
than
year
that
or
first
so,
year.
cause
The
you're
first
paying,
year-
cause you're gonna need some of them.
For the first year, you're basically getting, we're gonna take about a $9,000 increase of a yearly cost, subscription cost, but then there's also some added costs. There's a conversion fee, which is about $6,500, which they all charge, even the STI, going from STI to STI charges us a conversion fee, because it takes a lot of man hours to convert that data. They have to go in it line by line and fix things. Then there's all kinds of training and support, so there's fees for that, and it's all included in that first bill.
Okay,
But
okay.
what we would like to do is go ahead and get the ball rolling now, and the first step, they'll start converting data, and then we'll set up training schedules. And then a lot of it's it's gonna be like the trainer model, right, Tom? They'll
Mhm.
come in and train a few of us, and then we will hold our in-house training for multiple teachers and different schools, and it's gonna be a headache, because last time it was tough.
So all the grades then will all be held in this system?
It holds grades, all the attendance, discipline, some of the health records, all the demographics, contacts, everything's in one, which is what we have now. This one that we have now was just never meant to be a standalone with all the stuff, so now we have to have all, they built this one we have now before any of this other stuff came about, so that's why they're going to sunset that one, and it's not worth that company to continue to try to make this one work like the new ones.
So I need
This
a
doesn't
motion.
have the capabilities.
I'd like to need a motion to consider the new manager
I know they all
program.
cost a lot.
Yeah, they're high, and you pay by student, it's a per student cost.
They're all high, but we gotta have
You
it.
gotta have it.
Gotta
Is
have
this
it.
something like, Google, Board Association, any of them things, they have any recommendation on this, what they use? or look through
Everybody
any of
kinda
that?
has their personal
The
favorite. I
favorite.
know Tom's talked to several people, I've talked to several superintendents. Everyone, and that's the problem with Illinois, honestly, Don, is that there's not a one solution, which a lot of people like in Illinois, because you have that personal choice, but in Kentucky, they all use one. Kentucky says this is your student management system. And that while you wouldn't have that choice, it sure would solve a lot of headaches that he has to deal with, because he has to upload all of our student information to the state. And the state has to figure out how to get all this information from 20 different types of student management programs, where in Kentucky, it's all one.
And the state just has been requiring more and more as the years have gone by. So it's, and now it's tied in with evidence-based funding. So now it's, not that it wasn't important before, but now it's really important. So.
Yeah, all of our attendance, we used to do attendance reports, enrollment reports, and submit that to the state. Now it's all done automatically by Tom uploading it to the state. So you can't fudge anything, that's the intent, but that's what happens now. Even our discipline data, attendance data is uploaded.
Transfer of information.
And this is a company that's been in business for a while, or this one that's bought out, bought out?
No,
or-
this is actually a newer one, which
Newer
is
one?
one of the reasons we went with it. A lot of the other ones have bought out, kind
Bought
of
out,
like
right,
they're
that-
experiencing, and
yeah.
this one was designed from the ground floor up to be this product, which you don't have as many glitches, we're hoping anyway. It was meant to be what it is. Where a lot of the others, like our current management system was meant to be an offline system, and they changed it into a web-based system, which is why it's never really worked right. But I never really thought about that, but it makes sense. And like Aaron would know, when you click on something, you have a window after window after window that opens. The reason you have that is it's never meant to be a web-based system. It just doesn't function right in the web environment. So we're looking at one that is a web-based system, and it does integrate directly with Google, which all of our students use now, which Google accounts, and so it automatically talks to that. And we'll never get that with our
And
current
that was
system.
the other thing too, that was a big selling point with Alma, was that integrated Google Classroom, which we're using a lot more. I don't wanna speak on that, too much, but that was another big selling feature, comparative to any other solutions that we were looking at, so.
Okay, more discussion. I need a motion.
Yeah, just allow us to move
Allow us
forward
to-
with the changeover to it'll be a long process. You can
I'll
make
make that
motions to
motion.
allow us to start.
Have a second?
I'll second.
Any more discussion? Lisa,
Sooner
roll call,
they
please.
get on it, the better it'll be.
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Ms. Larison?
Yes.
Ms. Rushing?
Yes.
Mr. Summer?
Yes.
Ms. Steele?
Yes.
Mr. Savage?
Yes. So the next one is consideration of the 2019 property tax relief grant application.
Yeah, they just sent this out not too long ago. The odds of us actually getting any of that money are basically none, but I think it's worth filling out, because what if they're wrong and we could have got some? So it's basically a grant that was passed with the evidence-based funding formula, I think, with this latest allocation, to try to relieve property tax. And so it's based on the highest property tax down to the lowest. And so those with the highest get first dibs. And they only allotted 50 million. And 50 million only goes to about the first 30-something, and we're like 132 or something. So odds are, the people that fill this out are gonna get it, and it's never gonna get down to where we are on our property tax. But I'd hate to not have filled it out and then find out we couldn't.
I agree with that.
I mean, if you're okay with it, it's a simple submission. If we get it, you can expect tax relief grant up to $1.3 million. Right now, we currently collect 6.5, something like that, so. It would help.
15.
It would help property taxpayers a little bit if we got it. It just offset some of the property. Yeah, you need a motion to
Need a motion for
allow me
that.
to apply that.
I got a question for that first. If you would, Chris, get this, when you talk about tax relief, we wouldn't automatically roll that in and roll taxes back, or would we add that to our, and go ahead and
No,
spend it
you would
somewhere?
have to roll taxes back on the next
Yeah.
tax cycle.
So, I mean, it wouldn't be just added in and spend it.
No, it's required in the grant, yeah. You would have to not collect that amount.
Okay.
I'll
Sounds
make
good.
that motion.
Need a second?
Second.
Any more discussion? Lisa, roll call, please.
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Ms. Larison?
Yes.
Ms. Roach? Mr. Summer?
Yes.
Ms. Steele? Mr. Savage?
Yes. We'll go to the first reading of the policies, the new policies going to have adjustments. 2.80, board member oath and conduct. 2.120, board member development. 4.45, insufficient fund checks and debt recovery. 4.140, waiver of student fees. 4.170, safety. 5.3, general personnel. Hiring process, personnel, substitute teaching. 6.60, curriculum content. 6.240, field trips. 6.250, community resource person and volunteers. 6.310, high school credit for non-district expenses, course substitution, re-entering students. 7.50, school admission and students transfers to and from non-district schools. 7.0, attendance and truancy. 7.100, health, eye, and dental examinations, immunizations, and exclusion of students. 7.190, student behavior. 7.25, student support services. 7.260, exemption from physical education. And 7.270, administrating. Medicine to students. 7.290, suicide, depression, awareness and prevention. 7.305, student athlete concessions and head injuries, concussions, I'd say, and head injuries. That was the first reading. Anybody have any discussion on that?
You can look through those. I gave you kind of a synopsis or summary of each one. Most of them are minor changes based on laws. For example, the substitute teaching one, there's now a short-term sub-license, which we've already been using and we've been training, but you have to update your policy for it. Like the one on, for example, the insufficient funds and stuff, there's a limit on what we can do now with the new law, collecting fees from students for like lunch bills and things. So all that has changed, and you can look through those. If you have any questions, just let me know. This will just be the first reading, obviously, but those are the updates that came out in the October/November policy update that we paid for, press policy.
Okay, we're gonna go actions from the closed
Can
here.
I ask about
Sure.
a little bit
No,
of new
go ahead.
business? You know, we had talked some time ago, I guess when we did our board development training, about some areas. And one of them was vocational and technical training. And I don't feel like we've moved very far on that. I just wondered if we could possibly, if the rest of the board is interested, reconvene sometime and talk about what other areas, what other options we have. I think that there might be some way that we could work a little better with the junior college, and maybe there'll be some money coming to the junior colleges for that area, especially in the Alexander, Pulaski County area, with the various monies that are being put in there now. And Don may know more about what the college has. I know they just hired somebody to do truck driving. There's a big need for truck drivers.
Big move for that, and all your, vocational,
You know, that's one of the
classes.
things you hear more often than any, you know, it's not about, you know, where our curriculum is or something, it's about the kids that the parents want some kind of vocational training to get them ready for Western Kentucky or something, or Shawnee, because they're not gonna go to college, they're gonna go to work. And I don't feel that we're doing our part of getting this vocational thing going, because there's a group of kids there that we need to be not so much catered to, but we need to make it available.
Yes, the things are going toward trade.
And
Trade jobs.
companies right now can't even find workers. But some kids are not gonna go to college.
And unfortunately, we don't have a lot of jobs in our area, and our kids are gonna have to leave the area probably. But you go south and there are all kinds of jobs. But I just wanted us to look at some other options. Maybe there's some grants out there, maybe we could work close with our junior colleges, maybe we could, I don't know the answer.
Yeah,
I'm
we've
just-
been down this road once before, and with Don, and one of our biggest problems with working with Shawnee is just the location, because all the vocational stuff is at the actual main campus, which is in Alton. They don't have anything, I don't think, at the Metro Center. Now, we've added some dual credit offerings, but they're not vocational, you know, because we can do that through.
And maybe we're gonna have to fork out the money to pay for a bus to take kids down there, I don't know.
Yeah, and that's not just the bus though, I mean, the time.
Oh,
and-
yeah.
And, you know,
Right.
it was hard enough to bus them to Joppa for our auto body class.
I prefer to keep them right.
We can look at it.
Yeah,
You
if we
wanna-
can keep them
You
right
wanna look
here,
at, you wanna look at sometime in January, or?
anytime in the spring, I'm just saying, let's, after the first of the year, let's get back on that. I don't know, you know, are there grants from major corporations? I'm on another committee and we're brainstorming, instead of looking locally, because our local people are tapped out, look at the McDonald's Corporation or the Walmart Corporation or Sam's Club, you know, look at those, or does USEC, I don't know who has that money anymore, or whoever bought Dynergy out. Honeywell's gone, I don't know about Lafarge, but are there companies out there that have a pot of money that can go towards these types of,
Actually, Brian Giltner just told me there's something out there that some company has that we can, make a contact. I've never heard of it, but I've got a contact now. So.
okay.
I don't know if it's a grant or anything, I don't
Right.
know what that is, but, Brian keeps us abreast of some of those things he teaches down in Murray. And we're definitely open for suggestions, we can just, maybe think about a meeting later on. I don't wanna set anything right now, cause we're getting ready to get
No,
into.
I know that, I just want us to start thinking about that again.
Okay.
Late
Think
winter,
Larry
early,
has-
late winter, early spring.
I think Larry has something to bring up.
I have some more new business, I don't know how it's gonna go, but if any of you went out to Franklin the other day and seen, you know, play, I mean, the musical and everything else, parking at Franklin School is chaotic. And cars were parked double brick, all the way down the road from top of the hill, Chuck Miller's house, all the way past the bridge, you couldn't even drive through there. We have kids running between cars, we have parents walking the roads and stuff like that, it's a very dangerous situation. What I'm asking is, I went out there and measured, but I'm not a surveyor by no means. But we have some ground we do not use at Franklin School. We have 3 to 4 lots on the east side of Franklin School. One's wooded and the other 2 are open. I would like to advance the idea that we could have a survey and see exactly what we got. I am proposing at a later date, once we see that we sell these 3 lots, 4 lots, only with the intention that we build a new parking lot where the grass is now. So we get those cars off that road and make a safer provision for the people there. And that would be the only reason I would sell the property, and guarantee that that money that we sell it for goes right back into Franklin School property. It doesn't go anywhere else. So I'd like a consideration to have the superintendent, start a process to see exactly how many lots, what the footing is, and see where we're at.
I can definitely get that started at the board. Is everybody good with just?
I'm good with
it's
it.
not on the
We've heard to know
agenda,
that.
but, that's
I just
something
want
we can do.
a safe atmosphere,
Oh, absolutely.
and
Oh, I know it's, get more crowded all the time out there.
was out the other day walking around full daylight and you couldn't figure out who it was.
You're telling me about that.
You sneak from one window to another, look, see who it was, and he found out it was me, so he wanted to know what I was doing.
You know, even with the property around him, yes. I think Aaron could attest to this too. I went to the carnival, I mean, people are
Yeah.
parked on both sides, it's hard, all the way around.
Yep.
And
See, that's where we gotta.
Pretty well Jefferson and all those that
Yeah.
have that, you know.
I'm sure Unity's that way too, I haven't been for a nighttime
But
activity.
this is just an example where we do have something to offer, where a lot of places we're kind of surrounded by nothing. You know, and it may be a situation like down at MES, if one of the older houses comes up for sale or something, we may have to turn into some parking lots, you know. I mean, there's gonna have to be something
You know, I
done.
don't know if you can do that anymore,
What?
turn property into parking lots. I don't know.
You have to get that approved. through the
Yeah, you
city.
have to get that approved. through the
Rezoned.
city. It's hard to do, I think, in the city.
Yeah, they're tearing them down right and left, you know, and they end up
I
being
know,
parking lots
I know.
anyway, so why not give you a safe place to park?
Yeah,
One of these days,
All right.
I
one of
don't
these days, we're-
disagree.
one of these days, we're gonna get a kid run over, or a parent run over out there, and in the dark, it's worse than that.
Dark's
You can't
the
see
worst.
nothing out there.
Terrible out there.
Any school, you can't see
Any
that.
school.
And we need to
No.
improve our lightings on the rest of the building.
The other night, I was going up Unity School Road, and, you know, it was raining, and you meet in the car, and you just hoping, boy, there ain't anyone parked right out there, half on the, you know, on the road that you see about, you know,
But that's just a consideration, you know, to see
When you
what we
can't
can
get
do,
stopped.
see if it's feasible.
We're gonna go ahead, we don't need a motion for that, just go ahead and
No,
do it.
yeah, I'll just go ahead and start working on that and I'll report back
There-
to the
there
board if that's okay.
should be
That'd be great.
someone local that can do the survey.
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't you have a name of somebody else, Sugar? Okay, I'll get that from you before we leave.
Yeah.
All right,
Somebody local would be good.
let's go back into personnel for resignations. We have Mary Porter effective January 1, 2019. Unity Elementary 8, we need to make a motion to accept that.
I'll make that motion.
Do you have a second?
I'll second.
Any more discussion? Lisa, roll call please.
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Ms. Larison?
Yes.
Ms. Rushing?
Yes.
Mr. Summer?
Yes.
Ms. Steele?
Yes.
Mr. Savage?
Yes. Next one will be Jessica Sawyer, effective January 1st, 2019, District School Social Worker. Need a motion to accept her resignation.
I'll make her motion with regret.
Second?
But I miss her.
Yes. Have a second?
Oh, yeah, I'll second.
Okay, any more discussion? Lisa, roll call please.
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Ms. Larison?
Yes.
Ms. Rushing? Mr. Summer?
Yes.
Ms. Steele?
Yes.
Mr. Savage?
Yes. Next will be Cliff Esther, Massac County High School Assistant Football Coach, effective immediately. Need a motion to accept that.
I'll make that motion.
I get a second?
Second.
I have a second. Any more discussion? Lisa, roll call please.
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Ms. Larison?
Yes.
Ms. Rushing?
Yes.
Mr. Summer?
Yes.
Ms. Steele?
Yes.
Mr. Sanders?
Yes. There's nothing on retirement. We'll go down to new employment. Amy Cherry, school psychologist internship. I need a motion to accept that, start that going.
Yeah, that'll be under Jana Norton's supervision in preparation for her to take over.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Have a second. Any more discussion? Lisa, roll call please.
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Ms. Larison?
Yes.
Ms. Rushing?
Yes.
Mr. Summer?
Yes.
Ms. Steele?
Yes.
Mr. Sanders?
Yes. Next will be Peggy Sherrill, guidance secretary, registered to begin in 1/7/19.
Yeah, I'd like to go ahead and get that one started so that we can get her trained by Ms. Farmer, who we hired last month to go up and take Karen Holland's spot.
Yeah, I need a motion.
I'll make that motion.
A second?
Yeah, whenever we return from the Christmas break, we weren't gonna bring her back for that in-service on the 4th, but the kids return on the 7th, yeah. So we're gonna start it then.
I'll second.
Second. Any more discussion? Lisa, roll call please.
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Ms. Larison?
Yes.
Ms. Rushing?
Yes.
Mr. Summer?
Yes.
Ms. Steele? Mr. Souter?
Yes. Position transfer, Dane Gregory from Massac Junior High School cross-category classroom to Massac County High School cross-category classroom.
We already moved him over, because Mr. Ronicki told us he wasn't gonna be able to make it back, so
Okay.
we don't need a motion for that.
Okay. I believe that's it. I need a motion to, you made the motion? Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second, all in favor? Lisa, roll call, please.
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Ms. Larison?
Yes.
Ms. Rushing?
Yes.
Mr. Summer?
Yes.
Ms. Steele?
Yes.
Mr. Souter?
Yes. Hey, we all leave, don't forget tomorrow at 6:30, right?
Yeah, tomorrow at 6:30.
It's it.
Did you see the other night when the boys were playing, Coffee, at the whole Coffee section, when our band was playing these all just, I mean, adults and everybody were getting with
Oh.
each other.
Anna was up, standing up applauding for him.
I think,
Saturday night.
Luke McFall was down there Saturday
He's
night.
doing half
because
days,
he
he'll be
was-
there tonight.
And he was there that night.
Oh, the one kid was dressed like a Christian.